Well, you're live with BBC News. Let's turn to another really important story today because the beginning of July was the hottest week on record on this planet. Around the world, a series of extreme weather events have intensified concerns about runaway climate change, and nowhere illustrates that better than North America. The southern and western United States is struggling under what's called a heat dome. Texas has suffered a record number of 100-degree days. But further north in Vermont, flooding has caused President Biden to declare a state of emergency. In southern Europe, yet another heat wave is building. In Italy, temperatures have risen above 40 degrees Celsius and could go higher still in Greece and Spain. In India, one of the most climate vulnerable regions, deaths are reported to have spiked as a result of sustained high temperatures. And it's sweltering too in China. Beijing has issued its highest level heat alert for northern parts of the country. In all, it amounts to a worrying pattern of extreme weather caused in part by climate change. Well, let's show you a little more on two of what we've just been looking at. In a minute we'll go to India, but first we start in Vermont, where 2 months of rain have dumped on the state in just a matter of days.
I want to show you where we are right now. We are in Barrie. It's about 20 minutes south of the state capital, and the damage is everywhere. Down Main Street, there's extensive flooding. Right here, as you can see, the road has completely crumbled. This is a car dealership behind me, and take a look where you can see the concrete buckled, and it's just holding on to that Jeep from falling into the river below. Scenes like this are playing out statewide. It happened so fast, and there have been so many comparisons between this storm and Hurricane Irene in 2011, which completely devastated Vermont, and so many residents have told us this was far worse.
I'm in Solan district of the Himalayan state of Himachal Pradesh, which is the worst affected state in the region because of heavy rains since the last weekend. Authorities say that in Himachal Pradesh, 31 people were killed till Tuesday. Nearly 1,300 roads were closed due to landslides and flash floods, and 40 major bridges damaged in the last 3 days. A lot of tourists flock to this state, but for many, their holiday has turned into a nightmare. Many people have been stranded because of landslides and flash floods. Officials claim that as many as 2,000 tourists stranded in Kullu district owing to incessant rain have been safely evacuated. Several parts of the state and also that of the neighbouring states of Punjab and Haryana continue to be flooded. Since Tuesday, weather has been largely clear in most parts, bringing relief to the residents. The authorities have stepped up relief measures in the region.
Well, that's just a glimpse of what is happening. Let's go live to Dr. Frederica Otto, who's Senior Lecturer in Climate Science at Imperial University and author of Angry Weather, Heat Waves, Flood Storms and the New Science of Climate Change. Doctor, thanks so much for being here on the programme. So not just angry weather, but deadly weather. Is this happening faster than expected or what you anticipated?
The weather is not changing faster than expected. What is changing very, very fast and is continuing to change very fast is emissions. We are continuing to burn fossil fuels and emissions are continuing to rise. And as long as we are burning fossil fuels, we will see more and more of these extreme events. That's not unexpected. It's exactly as expected.
We're seeing floods, but we are principally concerned and talking about heat. How hot is it likely to get? And are we likely to see these records keep tumbling?
Yes. So this year, we have, on top of the increase in global temperatures because of the burning of fossil fuels, we have some natural phenomena that also lead to high temperatures. So the most famous of them is El Nino, which leads to higher ocean temperatures. We have seen that particularly also around the UK, but that means that we have climate change plus naturally conducive weather to heat waves. So this year we will see more heat records being broken than if there was no El Nino event. But as long as we are burning fossil fuels, we will see heat records being broken again and again and again.
And it's not just about trying to slow climate change. I mean, that's pretty obvious. And we know about the very well publicised route maps to actually doing that. But I suppose it's also now having to address the here and now for governments to come up with plans to protect their own publics. We know that Greece are having to formulate emergency plans. That is going to have to change how we're dealing with this now, isn't it?
Well, both has to change. A lot of the plans to reduce emissions are actually also measures that will help us to adapt to extreme heat. So we need to insulate homes to lower emissions, but of course that also helps people not to die in a heat wave if your homes are better insulated and you're kept cool. Greener cities and cities without cars and too much asphalt will be cities with lower emissions overall, but also cities that can deal with heat better because they won't get as hot, but also, of course, that can withstand flooding much better if the ground is able to take up the water and is not going into houses.
A twin final question then. Geographically, is there any part of the world that's not seeing exactly the impacts you're talking about? And in terms of climate change, we have at the moment the El Nino effect, as you were talking about, kicking in and making everything worse. Will there be periods when that is not happening, it's not going to be as extreme as this?
It will not always be as extreme as this, but it will never be as it used to be 10 years ago. It will, as long as we keep burning fossil fuels, it will just get worse. There is no place that's safe, but of course, the really mean impact of climate change is that those that have least, done to the problem are those that suffer most. So the poor people in every country in the world, the most vulnerable living in poor housing, are the ones who pay, often with their lives, for the profits of fossil fuel companies.
Dr. Otto, we have to leave it there, but thanks so much for being here on the programme. Thanks for your time.
Bye.